All right. I didn't. I didn't want to film a video this week. Um, Again, I'm not exactly planning for these videos. I wasn't feeling inspired, and kind of like a lot of other things in my life, I was finding like an excuse, and they felt valid, and I didn't want to film today. And I had a friend of mine text me like, "What time is the video? What time should I be expecting to watch it?" And I gave him the excuse, and I decided this is not what this is about. This is an exercise. The art is in the one take, the freestyle, and I can't not miss what I said I was going to do. Every Sunday, there's a video, and there is always something to talk about. So let's get into it. Today's subject is going to be a continuation of the art journey. I mean, it's come a long way. Not too long ago, but 10, 12 years ago, I was painting on a nail in the wall, hanging the canvas on the wall in a sober living house with multiple guys, and just like carving out my corner of where I was going to work on my art. No money, no resources, some friends that would support, and my family that would support. And I remember pretty vividly, one of my roommates he would go to work in the morning, and I'd be standing there at the wall working on the painting, and he would come home from the entire day, and I'd still be standing there working on this painting. And I would beg people to buy these things for $50, so I could have cigarettes for the week or whatever. And it's grown into this thing that is sometimes, just like everything else, I have a tolerance to it. I've gained a tolerance to where uh, a perfect example is, I sold two paintings this week, and one of them was a five-figure sale, and if I'm not careful, it's just a blip in the day, and I'm not even able to accept, the excitement and the accomplishment, because that's an amount I've touched before, and it's not this amount, and this amount I'll really celebrate. Like, I I want to be able to absorb these wins, and the idea that someone would part with that amount of money for one of my paintings still blows my mind. It's still the coolest thing that I could ever think of. I'm gonna make these things in a freaking dark room if nobody's looking anyway. And the fact that someone kind of sees and wants, a piece of these paintings in their home is just incredible. And I wish I could celebrate those wins a little bit more. But that was, my reaction isn't I think as it should be, and I judge that. But it's kind of part of the game, and it's become a bit of this machine where, on to the next, on to the next. I don't really get to absorb even the finished product as much as I would like. I finished that three-piece commission that I think last week, I think was hung behind me. As soon as that was done, I had to wrap it. I had to get it to a house in, not too far away, and that was going to go in the car the car was going to go on a train because the train was then going up to New Jersey. And it was kind of like the way we were going to ship these paintings, which was great because it was already in the cost of the shipped car and it was essentially free. It was going to make it up there. And that's it. The things are out of my life and they're kind of on to somebody else's life, which is kind of weird. I spend so much time with them and then they're just kind of out. And it's funny because this studio has so many different personalities. It's, not too long ago, the huge 60 by 60 pieces were behind me for a while. And those are now at the gallery. And how do I get them there? I mean, I can go on and on. I've seen and experienced the white glove service of the gallery. They have the art handler come and pick it up, and it goes to the framer, and then it ends up at the client's house, and you're not exactly touching the system. You do the painting, and everything else is handled, which is the blessing of having the gallery. And this big ant. That's the blessing of having the gallery, especially like a well-informed and real gallery. But to be honest, a lot of my journey has been the whole process. I'm trying to find the buyer, I'm trying to take the payment, I'm trying to invoice, I'm paying taxes, I'm stretching the canvas, I'm sourcing the supplies, I'm painting the painting, I'm shipping the painting, and it becomes, I've told myself for years that these crappy processes, especially shipping, and the sales part of it, when it's time for me to hand it over to different entities, whether it's a gallery or a broker or somebody else, I'm going to know how I want it because I've been doing it for myself this whole time. And that's kind of where we're at. Putting this expertise onto somebody else, I know what I'm looking for because I'm constantly thinking about proper representation. I want the work to be properly represented. I want to do well properly representing it and try not to cut corners because this is reputation. This is, the professionalism of the craft. So, I can go on and on, of course, about the process. So experiencing that in these different levels is part of the game. But again, I want to be able to enjoy it and it not just be this kind of numbing thing. Like, oh yeah, I just sold a 5-figure painting. Like I should be celebrating, not through ego, but through accomplishment of the story and like where it was and where it's at now. And I usually need someone around me who's been around since the beginning. Like I have friends, a few left that remember what it was like back then. And our mentors that remember what it was like back then, and they'll kind of put me back at ground level of, dude, like it's incredible. And it honestly is. It helps me to keep going. It reminds me that this is something I want to continue to do. And I'm I'm in the art game. Like I want to be further and deeper in the art game, as murky and as unforgiving and as, you know, red carpeted and freaking behind the scenes weird stuff as it is. I want to be in it. I want to dance with that, and the goal is to not lose my soul in the process. I've seen people that have lost it. I've seen people that have kept it, and I want to play the game. So this is the honest take of like where it's at, because I'll watch social media and these guys will have these epic crates and these huge studios and a whole team for shipping, and they're not even handling that level of the process. And maybe one day it'll be like that for me, but I still enjoy the hands-on approach of stretching the canvas, of unfortunately shipping the painting to ensure that it gets there in one piece. I don't know if it's a trust thing or whatever, but there's a lot of parts to this that are very fragile. I mean, a canvas is very fragile. So dealing with these fragile items and representing them properly is crucial to me. And, really the note to self of today's therapy is to enjoy these little wins while I have them, because as soon as the win comes, it's gone just like that. So let's do a little bit better on celebrating, because this is what it's about. I wanna celebrate these wins, and I don't want to celebrate it alone. I want to celebrate it with you guys and the people who care, like truly, honestly care, and we'll keep this thing going.